to Governor Hogan's Howard County Cabinet. But before we get started with the programs and the meeting, I'm quite sure all of you were saddened to hear of the shocking passing of County Executive Cannons, and I'd like to ask for a moment of silence to think about him and his family. Thank you. Well, for those of you in here who don't know who I am, which is often the case in Howard County, and that's a good thing, because I can go to the store without people knowing it's just some guy walking in the store buying Fruit Loops. I shouldn't say that, because I haven't had Fruit Loops since I was a kid. Haven't seen me. But I am Boyd Rutherford, Lieutenant Governor, and I'm a proud resident of Howard County. This was one of the shortest commutes that I've had since taking this job. Thanks, Governor. Now, on behalf of Governor Hogan, myself, and our entire administration, we want to thank everyone for joining us here this morning. I would also like to thank the Mill Branch Library here in Ellicott City for hosting us today, and especially the branch manager, Susan Stonecipher. Stonecipher. They tried to correct me, and I still messed it up. Stonecipher, for working with your team and getting tea for me this morning, or at least a hot water. I brought my own tea back. Well, thanks for making this happen. And we want to begin this morning by the presentation of colors and then the national anthem and the Pledge of Allegiance. The colors, or I should say the singers, are coming from Glenelg High School chamber singers. I think they're all really, no, they're not singers. You're not, no. And then we will have the welcome from the Girl Scouts Troop 1018 from Howard County. But now I'd like to ask that all rise for the presentation of the colors of Howard County's Sheriff's Office colors.
Face. Forward. March. Mark to the mark. Detail. Up. Leg. Face. Present. Arch.
I will read the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night
I jumped the gun during the pledge. You're supposed to.
Tell them have it.
Yeah, we are. We are. I do not.
Our time, march.
Please, everyone. Have a seat. Well, on behalf of our administration, Hogan Administration, I want to thank you for joining us here today, and welcome to beautiful Howard County. We have a great day ahead of us and a very packed agenda for all. Our cabinet secretaries will be out in the lobby following the meeting, and we ask you to hold your questions until then. At this time, I'd like to ask all the cabinet secretaries and the directors of the governor's coordinating offices to please stand to be acknowledged. Thank you. I would also like to ask the members of the Howard County delegation, local elected officials, and County Executive Alan Kittleman all to stand to be recognized. Thank you all for helping to make this day possible, and for making the county such a great place to live, work, and raise a family, which I've done all three of us. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor and privilege to introduce my friend, the governor of the great state of Maryland, Governor Larry Hogan.
First of all, we had a moment of silence, but I just want to touch on the tragedy that happened early this morning. It was shocking news. When I woke up a little before 5 this morning, I heard about the death of Baltimore County Executive Kevin Kamenetz, and I just want to say that the First Lady and I have his family, his wife, and his 2 children in our thoughts and prayers. Anything that we can possibly do personally or with the state government to assist their family or the people of Baltimore County, we're going to be there. And I ordered the state flags at all facilities lowered to half staff in honor of him and his more than 2 decades of service to the people of Baltimore County. Thank you for joining with us in a moment of silence earlier, and please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. I want to thank the Howard County Sheriff's Office Color Guard and the incredible Glenelg High School Chamber Singers. Didn't they do a great job? And as much as I love the Lieutenant Governor, I think that the Girl Scout Troop 1018 did a better job. Susan Stonecipher and everyone here at the Miller Branch Library for hosting us for this Howard County Cabinet meeting, a beautiful facility. I want to thank our County Executive, Kittleman. That's Bob Flanagan. Alan Kittleman. That was another They all do an incredible job representing you, both in Annapolis and here in the county. It's great to be back here in Ellicott City. We had the pleasure of being here with Alan and a bunch of the team a couple of weeks ago when we were at the annual Spring Fest celebration, which was terrific. We had beautiful weather for it. But it's great to see the incredible progress that has been made here to renew and to rebuild this historic and beloved Maryland town. I remember walking along Main Street with County Executive Dillon immediately after the storm. The Lieutenant Governor, who lives here in Howard County, showed up that very night, and I was here the next morning. We surveyed the damage. It was pretty devastating, as all of you know, and it was clear that it was going to take time to rebuild and recover. But it also became clear right away to me, after talking with the county leaders and residents and small business owners, that there was incredible resilience and determination and resolve on behalf of the people and on Howard County and all the folks that we talk with, that this town's future is going to be better and brighter than its historic past. And they've done an incredible job, and everybody involved in rebuilding this town deserves a big round of applause. We're really excited to be here for our regional cabinet meeting. We're literally bringing the entire leadership of state government directly to you here in Howard County. We've assembled a terrific cabinet and senior leadership team in state government, and I can tell you that they're all dedicated public servants who are all working very hard each and every day for the people in Howard County and the other residents all across the state. And I'd like to introduce every one of them, but there's just too many, so I'm going to only give shout outs to a couple of locals that I want to point out. The Howard County team, you already know, our great Lieutenant Governor is a Howard County guy. He's doing it unbelievable. Point out, although she's not here yet this morning, she will be joining us. The First Lady, by the way, is also a Howard County girl. Colonel Bill Palazzi, the Superintendent of the Maryland State Police. Mary Beth Tung, the Director of the Maryland Energy Administration. Secretary of Public Safety and Correctional Services, Steve Moyer. Environment Secretary, Ben Grumbles. Secretary of Disabilities, Carol Beatty. As well as our liaison to the Board of Public Works, Mark Nugent, who is official liaison to the brewing industry. We got one brewer that thinks that's good. Mark and I have been supporting this industry one beer at a time. And our entire team here is looking forward to a very full and productive day all over Howard County. We'll be meeting with local community leaders, local elected officials, retirees, small business owners, first responders, teachers, and students. And we're here to listen to your concerns, to stay engaged with your community, and to help address your issues and concerns. When I stood on the steps of our historic State House and took the oath of office about 3.5 years ago, I pledged to put Maryland on a new path. And I said that we were going to create a more business-friendly future for our state. We were going to help our private sector grow, to create more jobs for our citizens, and to turn our economy around. And we have been doing exactly what we said we would do. In the years just before I took office, sadly, Maryland had lost 8,000 businesses and 100,000 jobs. And a Gallup poll showed that nearly half of all Marylanders wanted to leave the state. We, over the past 3.5 years, all of our team working together with our folks in the private sector, we've created an exciting economic resurgence in Maryland. Businesses are returning to and expanding in our state. We had the best year for job growth in Maryland in 15 years. We had the best year for business in more than a decade. We went from losing 100,000 jobs to gaining more than 100,000 jobs. We have more businesses in the state of Maryland than any point in our state's history. And two recent national studies now rank Maryland's economy among the strongest in America. And an overwhelming majority of Marylanders are pleased with the job that this team has been doing and with this direction that the state is heading. Encouraging economic development and new jobs right here in Howard County has been a top priority of ours, and it has been for the county executive and leaders here as well. And just a few of the recent success stories. Last week, we were here together for the expansion of Tenable network security for an additional 350 high-paying cyber jobs at Howard Hughes Corporation's exciting new Meriwether District development. We're adding 500 new jobs at the new Fresh Fly facility, 150 jobs at Taylor Farms, 125 new jobs at CGC, 72 new jobs at MedStar, 50 jobs at Elta North America, which is an Israeli company that we recruited and invested to expand here. We have now completed 4 balanced budgets in a row in state government with no new taxes for 4 years in a row. And we've actually cut taxes, tolls, and fees by more than $1.2 billion. We stopped another $3 billion in new tax increases. We eliminated or reduced 255 fees all across state government, cut tolls at every single facility in the state by $270 million. First time tolls have been cut in more than 50 years. And we put all of this money back into the pockets of hardworking middle-class families, retirees, and small businesses, and back into our growing economy. We've been able to provide record funding for K-12 education 4 years in a row, because I believe very strongly that every single child in our state should receive a world-class education, regardless of what neighborhood they happen to grow up in. Every single jury, we have the best schools in America here in Howard County, by the way. Every single jurisdiction in Maryland has received increased investment by the state, including $1.2 billion more for K-12 education here in Howard County. We just enacted this most recent legislative session, really probably the most aggressive school safety legislation in the country, because right after the tragedy in Florida, we came out with this proposal. I said that no mom or dad should ever have to worry when they send their kids off to school in the morning whether or not their son or daughter is going to come home safely. And no child should worry when they go to school about whether they're going to be safe or not, or they're trying to learn. We're moving forward on, and that's, by the way, a $200 million proposal, $125 million for improving safety in the schools on a physical basis, and another $50 million per year to pay for things like mental health counselors and school resource officers. It's going to make a big difference in the state. We've been moving forward on nearly all of the highest priority transportation infrastructure projects here in Howard County and in every other jurisdiction, from one corner of the state to the other. Here in the county, we've put over $283 million in our consolidated transportation plan. This includes the investment of $110 million for Route 32, capacity and safety improvements north of Linden Church Road all the way to I-70. $37 million to widen 32 to a 4-lane divided highway from Maryland Route 108 to Linden Church Road. Our latest budget also includes $10 million for renovations to the nursing and science and technology buildings at Howard Community College, and money for the Shepherd Pratt Hospital facility here in Ellicott City. We committed funding for Long Reach High School and Harper's Choice Middle School, as well as for a new cultural arts center in downtown Columbia. We're committed to funding Ellicott City flood mitigation And I'm pleased to announce here this morning that thanks to the efforts of the Maryland Emergency Management Agency and the Howard County leadership, Maryland is being awarded another $1 million federal grant for flood mitigation here in Ellicott City. So together we really are making great progress, but there's still much more work left to be done. Our entire team today will be spreading out all over the county, from one end of Howard County to the other. After this cabinet meeting this morning, we'll be making a major transportation announcement right here in Ellicott City. This afternoon, we're touring Waterloo Elementary School in Columbia and cutting the ribbon on the cutting-edge new headquarters of SparkPost, which is the world's #1 email delivery provider. We'll be visiting Howard Community College, and we'll be doing a walking tour of Main Street, meeting with business owners and residents in Ellicott City. Our team has over 100 meetings, visits, and events today all across Howard County. Lieutenant Governor Rutherford will be joined by Health Secretary Bobby Neal on a tour of the Grassroots Crisis Intervention Center in Columbia. The Lieutenant Governor, along with the Ag Secretary Joe Bartenfelder, will be touring Days End Farm in Woodbine. The First Lady also has a full day here. She'll be doing a number of visits, including Elote Plaza and H Mart here in Ellicott City, and a tour of Ree Brothers Asian Food Distribution Center. Labor Secretary Kelly Schultz will be at the Columbia Workforce Center and will be touring SCD Information Technologies. Natural Resources Secretary Mark Belton will be at Patapsco Valley State Park and Troy Regional Park. George Owings, our Secretary of Veterans Affairs, will be visiting with the Howard County Commission for Veterans Affairs. And while I will still be hard at work this afternoon, most of our team will conveniently be visiting the Manor Hill Brewing around 4 o'clock today for happy hour. I'm not sure how I did not get scheduled for that. But those are just a few of the more than 100 visits and meetings throughout the county that our administration leaders will be holding. And I just want everyone here in Howard County to know that our entire team is committed to working together with your great legislators and local elected leaders to help address the problems and to seize on the opportunities here in Howard County. Working together with all of you, we will continue to change Maryland for the better. I want to thank you all for joining us here this morning. It's going to be a great day in Howard County. Before I turn the podium back over to Lieutenant Governor Rutherford, though, I want to take a moment to recognize a few very special students who call themselves Hydro Heroes. This group of 4th grade girls from Clarksville Elementary School recently won the state championship, the first Lego League, and this competition challenged teams to find ways to improve how people find, transport, use, and dispose of water. For their innovation and their commitment to making Maryland a national leader in energy efficiency and water conservation, it's my sincere pleasure to ask the Hydro Heroes girls to come forward so we can give them a governor's citation.
Thank you again. Thank you, Governor. And just for the record, my last stop of the day is at Manor Hill. But it's all business. It's a tour. Yeah. Okay. As a local resident, I have seen firsthand the administration's positive change in Howard County as well as the state of Maryland, making sure that we are changing everything for the better here. At this time, I'd like to call up the next presenter, who is Secretary Pete Ron from the Maryland Department of Transportation. Secretary Ron will highlight all the important highway investments and state transportation funded or state transit funding that is being used here in Howard County.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor.
Let me grab this.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor, and I do have to say that I can't highlight all of the work we're doing here in the county because I've only been given 20 minutes to be able to talk today. 5 minutes to talk today. But I have to tell you what an honor it is for me to be involved in Governor Hogan's historic investment in transportation in Maryland. The efforts and the results that we have seen over the last 3.5 years have been incredible to me from a professional standpoint, and I'll be talking about some of these, which will, in essence, also there will be a repeat of some of the things the governor's already said, but I think they're important enough to actually do that. So the first thing I'd like to discuss is the Maryland 32 widening. The piece from Linden Church to Maryland 108 will be open to traffic this fall. And the reason that that project is even happening is because of the governor and county executive Alan Kittleman and coming up with a cost-sharing agreement as to a 50-50 expense on that roadway and undertaking this in a new A+B system of design build. That doesn't mean anything to you except it meant that we were able to undertake this project 1 year faster than it would have if we'd have done it in a normal approach. But again, it could not have happened without the cooperation and partnership with the county executive and the council of Howard County. So we're going to see those benefits of that project this fall. And then next spring, we're going to see the construction of the remainder of 32 from Linden Church all the way to I-70. So great project. We're going to be doing it the same way, design, build, get the job done. And what I deal with in my job is to constantly hear from the governor, why are you taking so long? And I let him know that we're doing stuff in record time. And he goes, so why aren't you doing it faster? So it is a constant effort for us to find newer ways to do this faster, to deliver these results to you. Now also, public transit in Howard County, the state is funding $4 million for transit operations in fiscal 18. And we've also funded $2 million for the bus rapid transit planning along US 29 corridor, which would be, I think, very helpful to the region. I believe bus rapid transit is, in fact, the right solution to that. We have transit-oriented developments, and so just last fall there was a ribbon cutting at the Savage TOD, so we love acronyms at MDOT. In fact, it's kind of a foreign language for most. But at Savage, the transit-oriented development cut the ribbon last fall. We are working right now on the Laurel Racetrack TOD project, and it's progressing nicely. And we're adding parking at the Laurel Main Street to meet increasing ridership that we are seeing that has evolved. So real support of transit as well as roads. And then what many of you might not think about, but the Helen Dillage Bentley Port of Baltimore has a great impact on the entire state, but also a significant one for Howard County. The port has seen continuing records. Last year, 592,000 containers, 10.7 million tons of general cargo. I can tell you some of those containers, like in excess of 2,500, came to a business right here in Howard County, and that's Ree Brothers Food Distributors, importing 2,500 containers. So a great business, great use of this. Also, and I'm a little concerned that no one's been able to tell me exactly how it's said, so if you'll correct me, but Gramico? Granite? Is that said right? All right, no one's going to correct me, so we're going to go with that one. But Gramico also is a major user of this. But when you think about what the port means to all of us, the port generates 13,600 direct jobs, with more than 137,000 jobs linked to port activities. So there's no doubt that right here in Howard County, there are people benefiting directly through jobs from the Port of Baltimore. And what's amazing is that the port's responsible for $3 billion in direct wages. The port's important to all of us. It continues to grow. 7th year in a row that it's the largest importer-exporter of automobiles in North America. So great progress across all modes. And I have to tell you, it's because Governor Hogan demands results and has focused a major portion of his time to improving transportation in the state of Maryland. And it's fun for me to get to be a part of that. So thank you.
Thank you again, Mr. Secretary. I'd like to turn to Steve McAdams, who's the Executive Director of the Governor's Office of Community Initiatives. He will be presenting a governor's citation to members of the community who exemplify the commitment to service and continue to make Howard County and the entire state of Maryland proud. Governor?
Hey.
Oh, you're here. Okay. No, that's for the governor too. Okay.
Good morning. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Good morning, everyone. As Lieutenant Governor said, I'm Steve McAdams, and I am honored to be here today to present governor's citations to exemplary members of the community. When your name is called, please come forward to stand with the governor and lieutenant governor. Our first recipient is Fred Hartman. Fred serves as a board member for the Howard County Association of the Deaf. As a huge contributor to the association, he has worked tirelessly to advocate for the deaf and hard of hearing community. He chairs the annual association's picnics and works closely with the Howard County Public School System to improve the implementation of screening process for school interpreters. Fred also has taught American Sign Language courses at the Community College of Baltimore County for 32 years and 3 years at Towson University. He currently serves on the interpreting services with Howard County General Hospital. Fred, thank you for your dedication and hard work. Our next recipient is Vanita Leatherwood. Vanita serves as a Director of Community Engagement at HopeWorks, a support service for people in Howard County affected by sexual and intimate partner violence. Over the last 30 years in this field, she has co-authored the READY program, an interactive, performance-based workshop to educate adults and children about sexual abuse and bullying. She has served as a member of the DC Safe and Drug-Free School Advisory Council and was honored by the DC Public School System for her education initiatives. She was also honored by Mount St. Mary's College for her commitment to the education and motivation of students of the founder of Pathways, Attitudes and Aptitudes program. Vanita, thank you. The Korean American Disabled People's Association. Started in 1991 by a small group of Baltimore area families of children with disabilities, CATPA helped to connect local Korean families to available local, state, and federal services for their disabled family members. CATPA also seeks to address common concerns parents have for their children's future by hosting workshops, trainings, and social events for families out of their Ellicott City headquarters. Thank you for your service and dedication to the community. Barbara Allen. Barbara serves as Executive Director at Jane's Place Incorporated, an organization that supports individuals and families suffering from the opioid crisis. Barbara also serves as the co-chair of Maryland's Behavioral Health Advisory Council and has recently been appointed to the County Executive, Alan Kittleman, to lead the County Opioids Council. She has tirelessly worked as an advocate for those individuals and families impacted by this epidemic. Barbara, thank you for your continued fight. Christine McComas. Christine McComas is a resident of Howard County and the mother of Grace McComas, who tragically took her life as a result of cyberbullying. Turning tragedy into action, Christina was a chief advocate for Grace's Law, a landmark bill that makes it a misdemeanor to repeatedly and maliciously use a computer or a smartphone to bully someone under the age of 18. Christina has been a tireless and powerful voice for accountability and transparency in Howard County Public Schools. Christina, thank you for your important work. I'd like to welcome the Lieutenant Governor back to the stage.
Thank you, Steve. And at this point, I'd like to ask Carol Beatty, another Howard County resident and our Secretary of the Maryland Department of Disabilities, to come up. Secretary Beatty will highlight employment opportunities for individuals with disabilities in Howard County and across the state through Project Search.
Thank you, Governor and Lieutenant Governor. Good morning, everyone. It's really great to be here in Howard County among my friends and my colleagues, and I'm honored to have this opportunity to talk with you for a few minutes about what our administration's efforts are to increase employment opportunities for people with disabilities. When each of us is meaningfully employed, even if we happen to have a disability, we are contributing to the quality of the life of our state. Unfortunately, national statistics tell us that unemployment rates for people with disabilities across all educational levels is over twice as much as for those people without disabilities. To express our commitment to changing this dynamic in Maryland, Governor Hogan issued an executive order in October declaring October Disability Employment Awareness Month. Thank you, Governor, for your leadership in this area. The ongoing effort of the order directs all state agencies to highlight the immense contributions made by workers with disabilities. This is an opportunity to create greater recognition of the skills people with disabilities bring to their employers. The order also makes the business case that increased economic strength comes from hiring an inclusive workforce. I would like to acknowledge Bob Clare, who is here with us this morning. Bob, if you're here. Bob is the general manager of Moburn Lighting. It's a manufacturing firm in Howard County, which has been recognized for its inclusive hiring practices, and we so appreciate everything that you're doing. To focus more attention on employment for people with significant disabilities, under our administration, Maryland has become an employment-first state. Employment first, simply stated, means that individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities are capable of participating in the workforce with the right combination of services and supports. Under the employment first approach, community-based integrated employment is the first option for employment services for youth and adults with significant disabilities. Our administration's plan brings resources from across state agencies to help adults with disabilities get the training and the support that they need to find a job. We know from national statistics that #1 predictor of successful post-high school outcomes for students with disabilities is having paid and unpaid work experiences while they're still in high school. Maryland proudly offers Project Search in 8 sites throughout the state. Project Search is an internship program for high school students with the most significant disabilities. A strong partnership develops between the local school system, the Division of Rehabilitation Services, a local provider of adult support services, and most importantly, a host business. We are excited to report that a 9th site is opening on the Eastern Shore for the 2018-2019 school year. Here in Howard County, Project Search partnerships include the ARC of Howard County government as the internship sites, the Division of Rehabilitation Services, the Howard County Public School System, and Howard County Autism Society. I would like to acknowledge the representatives from Project Search Howard that are here this morning, if you could stand. I am pleased to say that after the first 3 years, Project Search Howard County has a job placement rate of 70% for its graduates, and that's compared to 28% employment rate for people with significant disabilities. So this program is really making a huge difference. Thank you to County Executive Alan Kittleman. He is one of the most enthusiastic supporters of Project Search, and we thank you for that. Finally, access to college learning for young adults with disabilities is critical in helping them get prepared for jobs and careers. The Hogan administration has supported the development of 2- and 4-year college programs for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities by including funding for the planning and implementation of college programs for these students. National research tells us that nearly 61% of individuals who completed a college program for students with intellectual disabilities have a paid job 1 year after exit. This compares to just under 30% of adults with developmental disabilities in the general population. I'm pleased to say that the state is currently in negotiations with the university to offer this unique program. So thank you for allowing me to discuss just a few of the many initiatives we have implemented in Maryland as a result of the governor's leadership and our administration's pledge to work together across state agencies to change Maryland for the better.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. I would like to call Glenn Fuston, the Executive Director of the Governor's Office of Crime Control and Prevention, to the podium. Glenn will provide an update on the administration's efforts to create safer schools for all of our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Thank you, Governor, Chief of Staff Clark. Thank you all for having me here today to give you a quick update on the school safety efforts in the state of Maryland. First, before I move forward with my prepared comments, I wanted to also draw our attention to Dr. Salmon from the State Board of Education for her tireless efforts working on school safety, especially this session. She's been a great advocate, so I just want to say thank you very much. I should also mention Ed Clark. He is the director of the Maryland Center for School Safety, who is not able to be here today. He is on a vacation with his wife, so he very much wanted to be here and felt that she took precedence. Sorry, sir. So I did want to give a quick update, and as many of you know, the governor signed the Maryland Safe to Learn Act of 2018 into law on April 10th. Of this year. And in that law, it provides $16.5 million to school safety in Maryland. That investment, in addition to the $23.5 million that's already in the capital budget, equates to $40 million to better support school safety in Maryland. And how that money will be utilized will go to better support to the Maryland Center for School Safety that we just talked about with Mr. Clark, funding school resource officers and other local law enforcement agencies, complete safety evaluations in schools, fund programs to address hate crimes, and complete capital improvements, all aimed at keeping our children safe. Further supporting the governor's commitment to collaborate with local jurisdictions and to increase the safety of our children, the law also establishes school resource officer guidelines. And it also mandates the development of school resource officer curriculum that will be approved through the state Maryland Police Training and Standards Commission. Another much needed outcome of this legislation is the provision for the development of school safety evaluations and elevating school and student mental health programs and wraparound services by designating mental health service coordinators and school safety coordinators in each local school. The Maryland Center for School Safety and its associated boards will be responsible for implementing many of these. And if you're not familiar with the Maryland Center for School Safety, it's an independent agency established to provide a coordinated and comprehensive policy and school safety guidelines in the state of Maryland. It collaborates with local school systems, local law enforcement, state and local government, community organizations, parents, and other groups to increase the safety of our students. The center will also help to hold multiple symposiums and different training events that are around the state. You may have attended a couple of them. Recently, they held a 2-day active shooter training. They also provided a behavioral threat assessment course to members of the community. And most recently, they held a statewide school safety summit to discuss critical issues of school safety and emergency preparedness. During that summit, the governor was able to present a citation to School Resource Officer Blaine Glaskill for his alert response to the school shooting tragedy at Great Mills High School on March 20th of this year. As I'm sure you all will agree, the impact of that tragedy will be felt for years to come. And we want to ensure that the Great Mills community knows we're right there with them and will provide them support into the future, as we will across the state. The administration continues to support St. Mary's County community, and the governor recently directed my office to work very closely with the school resource providers in the community to see how best we could assist. Very happy that we are able to provide them with $75,000 in funding to ensure that they're able to maintain mental health specialists in the school for the rest of the school year and then beyond the summer so that we can continue to work with them. Beyond this direct support, our office, as well as many of the cabinet agencies that you have in front of you, are also engaged in preventative programs to support the community and seeking increased safety in our schools. So these are programs that are out there to reduce adverse childhood experiences. If you're familiar with ACEs program, we're bringing that to the state. We're bringing that through many of the programming that we have. Programs like Handle with Care, where we bring together law enforcement in the school system by alerting schools when a child has been involved in a traumatic incident outside of school and just letting them know. Additionally, over the past 2 years, the Governor's Family Violence Council created I just lost a Healthy Teen Dating Relationships Program. I apologize. Thank you, sir. So we were able to create this program. It's now posted on our website. And what the Healthy Teen Dating program does is it provides an outline for school teachers to follow and help educate students in schools on what healthy relationships are, those that don't include abuse, don't include violence, and are polite, talking to one another and moving those things forward. So I wanted to conclude my comments just by recognizing a couple people from the school security team from Oakland Mills High School, and I believe many of them are here. I met with some of them earlier. School Resource Officer Kieran Harrison, I believe I met, is here. Security Assistant. Security Assistant Richard Cumby. And the former principal, Catherine Orlando, I'm not sure if I met her today or not. No? But they were all recipients of the Maryland Center for School Safety's School Safety Team Award in 2016 and 17 for their outstanding work for school safety in the state of Maryland. And they were nominated by Kevin Burnett, the school security coordinator. So let's give them a round of applause again. I'd also like to recognize a couple other folks from the county that are playing a major role in school safety in Howard County. Dr. Michael Martinario. Mariano, thank you. So I've had the Lieutenant Governor, now the County Executive, correct me up here, so I understand, sir. Chief Gary Gardner and Major Jones from the Howard County Police Department. Thomas McNeil, Director of Security and Emergency Preparedness and Response. Dawn Cronin from the Maryland Center for School Safety. And just again, wanted to thank them all, as well as the staff from the Oak Mills High School, for all of their support, for keeping our children safe in their schools in Howard County and around the state. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, and I want to recognize that the First Lady, Yumi Hogan, just joined us. The governor mentioned how the First Lady was a longtime Howard County resident before he swooped her away. And just to show how small the world is, her daughter, their middle child, and my son went to high school together, and they knew each other before we knew each other. And Secretary Beatty's son went to school with my daughter, one of my daughters as well. So the world just gets smaller. I want to welcome back the governor to recognize some of our special guests for joining us here today.
Well, first I better welcome the First Lady again. Thank you. My beautiful wife, Yumi, my much better half, thank you. I don't know what it really means, but she got by far the biggest applause with the standing ovation. All the rest of us are working hard too, but she does a wonderful job, and we're so happy to have her with us. But I just want to take a moment to recognize two outstanding public servants who have spent decades advocating on behalf of the people of Howard County, and one of them just joined us. I just want to first of all recognize our outgoing Maryland State Senator from District 12, who has served our state for more than 30 years. As the chair of the Budget and Taxation Committee, he was instrumental in working with us this year to protect Marylanders from the potential negative impacts of potential tax increases as a result of the federal tax overhaul. Worked very well and made that happen. In addition, he worked with our administration to provide tax relief for hardworking Maryland families, retirees, and small businesses, and he's just a terrific gentleman who I've had the honor of getting to know and working with. So at this time I want to invite Senator Ed Casemeyer to come forward. We just have this governor's citation today that's dated today and signed by me, the Lieutenant Governor, Secretary of State, just honoring the Honorable Ed Casemeyer for his 30 years of distinguished public service for the people of Howard County and the state of Maryland. So thank you, Ed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Governor, Lieutenant Governor. And I just want to say a couple of things. First, I want to thank the First Lady for all she's done for the arts in Maryland. People don't realize that, but she's made a great contribution. I want to thank all the cabinet members, most of whom I've dealt with over the years and really have helped me a lot and made me look good, and I appreciate their cooperation. I'm glad the governor's cabinet came to Howard County. I've been here for 60 years. Unbelievable. But it's a great county, bellwether county, And I'm proud of all that Howard County has meant to the state of Maryland. And I want to thank the governor for all he's done for the state over the last 4 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. There's no question that those are some big shoes to fill, and he's going to be greatly missed. Number two, I want to name another gentleman who is a member of the House of Delegates who's represented the citizens of District 13 with distinction for more than 20 years, and he's also retiring. He's the vice chair of the Ways and Means Committee, and this week I was pleased to sign into law legislation which he sponsored that increases access to community college and will protect Marylanders from potential negative impacts of taxes. He worked with us on tax relief, and he does a terrific job, and we're going to miss him as well. So I want to bring Delegate Turner up here to say thank him for his service.
Thank you very much, Governor and Lieutenant Governor. I've had a great experience working with your staff this year. They're very, very good. And many of the cabinet members have been in my office, and we've sat down and talked about many of the issues. I thought I might leave this year before the governor got his bill passed on term limits. So I thought this was a great time to leave because I might not be around. But it also, it's been a real thrill doing a lot of legislation. The adoption bills I've got passed. I was listening to the transportation discussion this morning, and I was the floor leader on that transportation bill in 2013. I was glad to get this bill passed this year because I did all the gambling bills in the legislature since 2007, and everybody remembers me for doing gambling. So I was very glad to get those passed this year. But I want to thank you and thank the staff and thank especially the governor and the great job he's been doing.
Thank you,
sir.
Service.
Okay, well, thank you. And now I would like to introduce Secretary Steve Moyer from the Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services. Secretary Moyer will present the governor's citation to members of the public safety community who demonstrated a commitment to public safety and security and going above and beyond the call of duty. Thank you.
Here's the path on how I became a Howard County resident. I had worked for the state for about 24 years and went to a little town called Sarasota in Florida, and a gentleman by the name of Governor-elect Larry Hogan got a hold of me and said, I want you to come back to Maryland. I want you to run public safety, but you got to live in Howard County because you have 21,000 clients in these prisons, and I want you to be close to the prison. Then the lieutenant governor called me and said the best trumpet players in Maryland live in Howard County. So since the lieutenant governor and I both play trumpet, it worked out. And I do live up the hill from the Manor Hill Tavern, so I'll be there at 5:01. So thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Again, I'm Steve Moyer, thrilled to be making these presentations for public safety. Agent April Crandall, would you please come forward? Agent Crandall of the Department of Parole and Probation, Ellicott City Field Office, has over 32 years of experience with the division and currently supervises a domestic violence caseload. She is a mentor to all staff members, and she exudes positivity and the spirit of cooperation. Agent Crandall is public safety conscious, always mindful of verifying that contact standards are met in their entirety. She ensures public safety and will often stay in the office until all tasks are completed. She is always willing to lend a hand on mandatory and voluntary basis by providing coverage needed. Thank you, Agent Crandall. Kathleen Masterson. Kathleen is the Victim Assistance Section Supervisor within the Howard County Police Department. Since joining the department in 1999, she has successfully managed the daily operations of the Victim Assistance Section to include the direct provision of services to thousands of victims. Before joining the department, she was the coordinator of the entry-level police academy and a senior instructor for the Maryland Police and Correctional Training Commissions. Prior to that, Ms. Masterson was a sworn law enforcement officer and police patrol supervisor. With 30 years in the field of law enforcement, almost 17 of which have been served in her current position as Victim Assistance Section Supervisor. Ms. Masterson is truly an inspiration, and the Governor and Lieutenant Governor, thank you. Lieutenant William Chevron. Lieutenant Chevron of the Howard County Police Department responded to the longstanding request of the Howard County Autism Society to establish a 9/11 address flagging program within the county. Today, nearly 300 addresses are flagged for individuals with various disabilities in the Rapid Return Tracking System. Howard County's program is the first of its kind in Maryland. Lieutenant, thank you for your diligent work on this important project. And now I'd like to turn it back over to my favorite trumpet player, Lieutenant Boyd Rutherford.
I haven't played the trumpet in a long time. I threatened my wife that I'm going to start playing again, and she threatens me. But thank you, Mr. Secretary. At this time, I'd like to introduce my good friend, Howard County Executive Alan Kittleman, and Secretary Mike Gill from the Maryland Department of Commerce. They will highlight some of the economic development projects that both the county and the state have been partnering in to promote economic growth in Howard County. Thank you.
Now, hang in there with us because we're going to yin and yang a little bit. And
Which one are you?
Either one.
Okay.
And we are saving the best for last, economic development, right?
That's awesome. Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Against the greatest
Well, what's this?
Whoop, hold on. Hold on.
First slide.
Let's get the first one up there.
Thank you.
Very quick. Howard County. I love Howard County.
Okay, I'm ready.
There we go. Couple very quick things. You know, in this position the last 3+ years, there's 3 or 4 characteristics that have to be there if you're going to be great in economic development. You got to have a great culture. You got to have a great workforce. Howard County, check that box. Great industry base. Fantastic. Good location. That really matters. But you better have great leadership. So, Yang, take it from there.
Thank you, Ying.
Great.
Now, before I say anything else, I do also want to acknowledge my good friend Kevin Kamenetz. That's very shocking for all of us who are county executives. It's a little group that we get together an awful lot, and Kevin is certainly someone who has meant a lot to Maryland, and so I certainly offer my sympathies to Jill and her sons as well. But also, Governor, I want to thank you for being here. It means a lot that you're here and all the members of the cabinet, and it means a lot that you guys care enough to come here. And if we talked about Ellicott City real quick before I get there, Ellicott City, you were here. The Lieutenant Governor here that night. You were here the next morning, less than 24 hours. And I believe, if not every one of those cabinet members, almost every one of them came to our information session less than 48 hours after the flood. So you have been amazing for us. I just want to thank you very much for being here. Howard County is a great place to live, work, learn, and play. We have all of our cabinet members here. Our cabinet meeting was this morning, Governor, believe it or not. And so I chose not to have the cabinet meeting, but I encouraged them all to come here. So if they could just stand, and all the folks in our cabinet, if you could stand, thank you so much for being here. I will turn it back over to you. We're going to start the next slide. I think you want to start talking about some economic development deals.
Yeah. I mean, an expression that we use a lot is economic development is a team sport. Alan, you've also got a great leader in Larry Tweel and what the economic development team's doing. Well, good. I'll come over here then. So all we want to do is take just a minute. We could highlight. We've got a long list, but we just wanted to highlight a few of those accomplishments. And over the last 3 years, Commerce and the state together, we've invested over $27 million in cool things in Howard County. Governor mentioned Tenable. That's really cool. Cyber, it's becoming we are the cyber capital of the world, Maryland, and Howard County is making a heck of an argument that they are the cyber capital of Maryland. Coastal Sunbelt, great company, made an investment in Coastal Sunbelt. Meriwether, what we did there is we stepped up. They need a little bit more capital on the guarantee side, and that's part of a program we have called MIDFA. So that made a difference. You've seen some of the others. MedStar, beautiful building in the Meriwether district, significant enterprise, over 30,000 employees, many, many locations, all the above, very, very positive. And then over here, some big numbers. Pete talked about highway activities. That's probably a low number, Pete, last 3 years, $164 million. Just sounds low. Public schools, almost $1 billion in the last 3 years. And no county does a better job in taking that billion and adding it to the county's money and doing incredible things. And then the third piece of the puzzle, I'm going to be there shortly after our meeting ends here with Kate Hetherington, who's one of the best community college presidents in the whole country, to go over to the community college and see their new science and tech building. Next slide.
Next slide. Whoop. I'll start this one?
Yeah,
I'll start
you
this
got
one. And Tenable, of course, at downtown Columbia. Thank you, Governor, for being there for the groundbreaking. It's big. I also want to particularly acknowledge our chair, Mary Kay Siggety, here from the County Council. She is probably the most important person to make sure that happens. So thank you, Mary Kay, for making that happen. Again, bipartisanship, you can do great things if you don't care about being who's going to get credit. And you did a great job, Mary Kay. But we put a lot of investment there. We have tax increment financing there, $90 million for a $2 billion investment, folks. To me, that sounds pretty good. And we have some amazing things happening there. What's also great about this is that in addition to having that great economic development, because of that tax increment, we're going to have a new arts center. We're going to have a new library. We're going to have a new bus transit center. We're going to have a new fire station, a lot of amenities that we need to have in downtown Columbia. It's going to become the walkable, bikeable, livable community that we've been wanting for so long. And so great for millennials, as well as those who are retiring and want to continue to live their lives in a great place. And, of course, can't forget Meriwether Post Pavilion, one of the best outdoor amphitheaters in the country. It's even better now. I encourage everyone to come there, but it just is a great anchor for all the other development going around. So downtown Columbia, what a great place to be. Next slide.
Hey, a quick thing about the Columbia Town Center and Meriwether. There's cool things that I could take us to all over the state. But, Alan, that's about as cool as it gets.
It does, yeah.
So those of you who are looking for space, we've got some leasing agents on duty here today. So just shout it out. Gateway, very quick comment. I'm going to make a before and current comment about Gateway. 25 plus years ago, somebody will know when the Gateway groundbreaking took place, somewhere 25 plus years ago, as good as it gets. It was the model of an industrial park, a cool industrial park, pretty trees, nice wide roadways, beautiful buildings, cool names on top of them. And then all of a sudden, millennials came around and the need for amenities and live, work, play. So now I'm going to flip it back to Alan to talk about the next chapter, the Gateway District.
Yeah, we're very excited about Gateway. It's right there. If you don't know where Route 175 hits Route 95, it's a great business park, but it could be used so much better. It's 920 acres. We're looking to redevelop it into the Howard County Innovation District. Right now, we have $1 billion that Howard County owns. The Gateway building is now the Gateway Innovation Center. We're moving our Maryland Center for Entrepreneurship, which is now 25,000 square feet in another building, bringing them over, expanding it to 50,000 square feet so we can have more opportunities for startups to come in, technology in other areas. It's a really, really exciting place to be, but we're going to harness the educational facilities there, Johns Hopkins, UMBC, Loyola, other folks, along with the technology firms, Steer, one of the automated driving. You heard about that the other day with Tenable too. So it's a lot of great things happening there at the Gateway. We're also looking forward to working with the Secretary of Transportation to work on infrastructure there to get better transportation into it. But it is really going to be another great economic engine, not just for Howard County, but for the state of Maryland. Next slide.
Well, we're going to come full circle. I'm going to flip it back to my partner in just a few seconds. Ellicott City. When Alan and I talked about the few minutes with you today to tell the Howard County story around economic development, we knew Ellicott City would be part of that. And I said, you know, Alan, the thing about Ellicott City, it should have never happened. Sorry it did happen. We can't do anything about it other than what we did do. It showed all the character of Howard County in a major catastrophe in this community. All the character. You know, there's an expression, character is non-negotiable. Nobody blinked. It happened. All of a sudden, LG, he was there, and then the rest of the Army was to follow. And we've taken what was a really difficult situation, and all of a sudden, it's a new day for Ellicott City. So
it is a new day, and the pictures you see up there, those are the before, folks. Those are the before. And the governor, you see, he was there early. He was there often. He's been there to celebrate the people who were heroes that night. We unfortunately lost 3 lives to that terrible tragedy. But we got a lot of support from the state government, a lot of support from the federal government. Again, an example of how you come together. You don't worry about politics, folks, when people are struggling. And so we came together like I don't think anyone has in a long, long, long time. And I see that Senator Bates is here. She was a big part of it. Thank you so much. And Delegate Flanagan is here. And Trent as well is here, Trent Kittleman. Oh, no, that's where I'm going next. I wouldn't forget that. I can't forget my friend John Weinstein. John is here. John and I probably were tied to the hip for about 3 months or more, and I didn't hear that one, so I'll try to avoid that. Oh, 6 months. Well, I just meant but for the first initial part. But anyway, it was something that it took a lot, folks, and it was the people of Ellicott City. It was the residents, the business owners, the property owners. They came together like nobody's business, and they just made themselves the example for the world. And I'm telling you right now, FEMA has done a case study, and Ellicott City is the example. They're going around the country saying this is how you make it work. You have people from both parties, from all areas coming together, from state, federal, and local government and communities, the faith community. We all came together, and we made it happen. And right now, Ellicott City is stronger today than it was on July 30th, 2016. And it's because of those folks' hard work. And it's amazing. 96% of the businesses are back. We were told we'd be lucky if 25 or 30 came back. 20 new businesses. But I appreciate all the help from so many people. A lot of county employees were there, a lot of folks working. The state had folks there. It was just an amazing example, folks, of how we can make it happen. Ellicott City, if you had read the experts, they would have told us it's not going to come back. Please, if you get a chance today, go to Ellicott City. It is an exciting, vibrant place that has certainly a great restaurant at Manor Hill Tavern, as Randy's right here, but a lot of great things. So, Governor, thank you so much. In the package, folks in the cabinet, you see some after pictures. We didn't have time to put that up front, so it's a lot of great things. And thank you, Governor, for declaring an emergency. Thank you for being there for so many times, and thank you for caring about the people of Ellicott City.
And thank you. We're done.
Good job, gentlemen. Thank you very much. They were talking about a yin and yang. They kind of reminded me of Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin. For those of you who remember that, a lot of the younger people have a blank look. Right. I'm not going to say who's who. Okay, I'd like to now introduce Mike Morello, the Director of the Governor's Office of Performance Improvement. He's going to present the Governor's citation to state employees who have demonstrated consistent and outstanding customer service to the citizens of Howard County.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Customer service is extremely important to the Hogan-Rutherford administration. In June of 2016, the Governor launched the Customer Service Initiative, a program designed to foster improvement in customer service across Maryland state agencies to change Maryland for the better. When your name is called, please come to the front to be recognized. The State Health Insurance Assistance Program, SHIP. SHIP works closely with the Howard County Office on Aging and Independence Together, they send a flyer advertising the services they make available to answer questions about Medicare insurance to individuals approaching age 65. Howard County is the only jurisdiction that conducts affirmative outreach in this fashion. The employees and volunteers at SHIP go above and beyond to ensure the people of Howard County are receiving this important information. Thank you all for your dedicated work. Linda Zumbrun. Ms. Zumbrun began her state service in 1971 as a social worker with the Howard County Department of Social Services. Currently, she leads the department's community initiatives, which includes managing customer service issues and serving on many community committees and boards to share the services available through the Department of Social Services. She spends the time to ensure clients understand their rights and benefits, and that they have the connections to the appropriate community resources. Ms. Zumbrun is a truly valuable member of the Department of Social Services family and a trusted partner in the Howard County community. Sherilyn Hammond. Sherilyn Hammond works at the Ellicott City District Court Multi-Service Center in Howard County, Maryland. She has been a state employee for 32 years, 6 of those years with the Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services, and 26 with the Department of General Services. As an administrative officer in the Multi-Service Center Superintendent's Office, she's a key member of the team. In her role as emergency essential, she's worked through snowstorms, hurricanes, even that earthquake, and she's always willing to go the extra mile to get the job done. Sherilyn is planning a retirement for June 30th of this year. Congratulations, and thank you for your service. Lisa Luntz. Lisa lives in Columbia and is a Department of Juvenile Services case management specialist at the Howard County Intake. Lisa is dedicated to the youth and families she works with in the county. She constantly demonstrates the importance of teamwork. During staff transitions, she's always been willing to take on additional responsibilities. She's got no problem building great rapport with everyone she comes in contact with and consistently excels at providing timely feedback, even in the most difficult situations. Lisa's always willing to help and provides outstanding customer service. Thank you, Lisa. And Barbara Bauman. Barbara works at the Ellicott City District Court Multi-Service Center in Howard County. She's been an employee with the Department of General Services for nearly 36 years and is a lifelong resident of Howard County. Barbara's career began with the Department of General Services, where she held 4 different clerical positions, was promoted to building manager and then to assistant superintendent before advancing to her present position as superintendent of the Multi-Service Center Division. Rising through the ranks has given her in-depth knowledge, and that has benefited everyone in the organization as well as all of the tenant agencies. Barbara's career has been a model of hard work, diligence, and exceptional customer service. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you, Michael. And I want to thank everyone again for being here. This concludes the Howard County Cabinet meeting. And on behalf of the Hogan Rutherford administration, thank you for welcoming us to this wonderful county, and we look forward to greeting you in the lobby and out in the community. Thank you very much.